Welcome back to Studio 5. It is a heavy word to carry around, regret, because with it comes remorse, guilt, and a long list of other negative emotions that can cause a hang-up in your happiness. So today we ask, how can you resolve regret? Studio 5 contributor Dr. Matt Townsend says the goal isn't necessarily to eliminate the regret altogether. So we asked our Facebook friends, what do you regret? Can I share some responses? The answers included past relationships, not going to college, waiting so long to focus on my health, waiting to lose weight. I wish I would have done it when my kids were young, this viewer said. And my favorite, I regret the Diet Coke I'm drinking right now because I know it is no good for me. But the list was long.
Oh, interesting. So by the way, did you notice where most of those regrets lie?
In the past.
Always in the past. So do you know what is the #1 reason regret is so disabling? Because you're living in the past. And as you live in the past, you're bound to repeat that which is in the past. If you don't live in the present, you're probably going to just keep repeating that paradigm. So all a regret is a script or a story we keep telling, and we use it today to probably manifest other emotions that we're having.
Okay, and how common do you think it is? Because this topic was first kind of on my mind about a month ago. I was doing an interview with another guest of the show, and he said he believes, we were talking about empty nest syndrome, and he said, I believe that one of the reasons women struggle so much with empty nest syndrome is because they hang on to this regret of what they didn't do when they were a mom or what they could have done. I mean, that's a heavy load to carry around.
Well, so what we do is we make a mistake. So where regret should help us is where we make a mistake, it should help us correct and then go live more correctly presently and in the future. But we don't. So what we do with regret is we don't change, and instead we'd rather carry the regret than actually exert the energy to change. And it's not like an intentional choice.
Right.
We just would rather beat ourselves up than use all that same energy to go become the change you need to be.
Who's better at letting go of regret, men or women?
Men.
Yeah.
I think men are better at letting go of pretty much everything.
Why do women hang on to so many things?
I think because you care deeply. So if you care more, you probably think more, you go more deeply. You have also a concept that you need to be perfect. You actually have a concept of what it should look like because you have Pinterest. And the guys, we don't have that. So we don't even know how perfect should look. But I think some of this just goes back to the tendency women have to just be perfect. And they don't even want to be perfect. They want to be perfect, but they want to actually look like it's not hard to be perfect.
Effortless.
They want to be effortlessly perfect. Where guys don't care if they're perfect, they just want to look strong.
Yes.
It's easy.
I always internalize these topics when I know we're going to discuss them on the show. And I was thinking, do I have any regrets? And I don't have a lot.
Good.
But you know one that's been hanging me up? Last year, I did not go to a dear friend. Her dad passed away. And I did not go to his funeral. And I have probably thought about that 24 times in the last year and felt just awful.
See, but you know what? That is actually the perfect example. Because you still think about it today. So when you bring it back today, it brings back all that regret, all that remorse, all that sadness. So what do you do with that?
What do I do? You said it was like rewriting a script.
That is a script now you have where you have now written a story about that moment of pain and regret, and you keep playing that moment of pain and regret. And it's going to come up, by the way, from here till your death, until you change the script. So watch what we do. First thing we have to do is we have to basically figure out and recognize that regret is from our past and go into it and try to figure out, why are we so caught up in that? Why are you so caught up in missing the funeral?
I
mean,
feel
it seems
really
obvious,
guilty, and I could have probably sacrificed. At the time, it was a really long drive on a really busy week, and I could have sacrificed and been there for her.
And also, you care about her.
I do.
And you cared about that man, and so this is all very important to you.
Yes.
So one reason why the regret is there is because it was something important to you. By the way, even if you couldn't have changed anything, you still would probably have regret.
Really?
Because you care about the lady, and you care about the friend, and you wanted to be there, and you want to be a support.
Okay.
So as long as we can understand it, we can go into our past all day long and understand it. And just understand it's an event from the past. Now we have to understand what keeps you stuck in your story today. What could you do about it presently? Are you still writing this friend? Are you still connecting to this friend? Are you still connecting to all of your friends? Are you being the kind of friend you want to be? There might be other reasons why you keep going back to a friend regret. And it might be just like, I need to be a better friend, or I'm getting too caught up in my business or my job that I now am actually letting friends slide.
Right.
So you might actually be using a past regret story to beat yourself up for other things you're not currently doing.
And is that the key then to reshape it in your current life? Because I look at this list from viewers, past relationships, not going to college. Some of those things they might not be able to go back and resurrect and redeem.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, there's bigger regrets. I know people that have accidentally killed somebody in a car accident. Those are major things that you can't change. But what you can do is start to understand understand that if for example, your exercise or your weight regimen and you weren't in better shape today, or back then, we can regret not being in bad shape back then, but it's really the pain of today that keeps bringing up this regret.
There you go.
So what I want everyone to do is just to start noticing, what can I do about this today? So notice where we've gone. We're moving it from the past to the present.
Right.
What is it about this today that keeps bringing it up? And it might be just a subtle cue from your conscience that keeps saying, I got to put people first in my life, not just my job, or I got to keep people first in my life, not just my relaxation and recreation time. So we have to literally go in, understand what keeps us in the story. Then what I suggest is let's write a better story.
Okay.
So we can't fix that, but if we could, in an effective, healthy way, have you move on from this regret and turn it into something better, or just at least handle and cope and deal with things better, and I had a magic wand and I sprinkled dust all over you, what would you look like in the future where this regret would no longer be bothering you? What would you need to do? What would it look like for you to actually no longer have this looming regret?
So you are shaping really the future of how you handle this particular situation.
And what would be great is like you'd feel like, I really don't want to, I don't want to have to think about it. When I think about it, I want to know that I made a mistake in that moment, and yet I corrected it in this moment.
Yeah.
So then I really want you to just start to see, what would it look like? I would be able to understand that I am now putting my friends and my family in a better position, and if there are contingencies or emergencies where I need to be there, I go out of my way to make that happen. And if I can't make that happen from here on out, I make a special effort to go and have a personal experience with the person.
And I kind of threw out my example, which seems really small when you compare it to some of the big things people are carrying around. But do these same principles apply to, I mean, you threw out a very, very intense situation, someone who may have injured somebody else in a car accident, these same principles apply.
Or like divorce and things like that. So yeah, if I'm now going to move on and I have these regrets from not keeping my family together, what would it look like if I moved on in a healthy way and was no longer carrying the regret? Well, now I would be a super dad. I'd be an incredibly attentive co-partner or co-parent, and I would be sitting there and I'd be making sure I'm attentive and going to all of the meetings and being all over the place and doing everything I could. Because what that would do is in the present, it wouldn't keep bringing up those negative feelings that would then reinforce the regret. Then once you kind of have written a better picture and you write really the vision of an ideal, and by the way, you don't want to get rid of regret. It's a learning moment. So we don't need to eliminate it, we want to elevate it. We want to take the regret and elevate it into learning, and then we don't have to suffer the same hole again.
You change it. You totally transform it.
You transform it in. By the way, we only can transform anything in the now. So I'm thinking about it in the now. I'm writing the story right in the now. I might go to the future to see what it might look like, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to live the script in the now. So I would just ask my conscience today, what's the most important thing I could do today to become that change I want to become in regards to this regret from the past? And I guarantee you, your conscience has an idea.
And for some people, they might have to repeat this pattern before it takes hold and habit.
1,000 times.
Yeah.
And one other thing, don't beat yourself up about this. This is life. This is how life works. And because if you fight against this thought too much, you're actually going to create more chemistry around it, and you're going to build more energy around it, and you're going to fall deeper into the hole. The regret is not your problem. The story and the incessant telling of the story without changing, that is the problem. And you don't need big change. So even if you can't play all the time because you didn't take better care of your health, you can do something. And when you do something, what's amazing, when you do something on a thought of regret, it actually turns it into integrity, it turns it into progress, it turns it into peace. When you do nothing on your regrets of the past, it just turns them into more angst. More angst.
Which defines the phrase, this is life, learning and refining and improving.
And tomorrow we do it again. And by the way, tomorrow, guess what? You'll have new regrets. Because you don't know all things, right? You can't be on top of it. You're just a work in progress, and that's fine. Just accept it, and tomorrow we do it better.
Matt, I love this.
Isn't that fun?
Thank you so much.
Keep
Very
the
good.
regrets
Thank
up,
you.
folks.
Keep it up. We're learning. We're living. Hey, we are closely approaching your date night. Are tickets still available?
Still available. They're going fast. This is on Saturday, June 28th. This is my funnest event of all time, really, because we're talking about harmony and how people are different and how the differences you create harmony. It's going to be a great night. 7:30 to 9:30. Go to Date Nights with Matt. Tickets are on sale. It's a great place. You can lay out a blanket, hang out with your family. Bring your, teenage kid, 16 older. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to have tons of fun. We got Vocal Point that'll be there.
That'll be great.
It's going to be awesome.
The atmosphere will be good. I was in the grocery store the other day. I was going to check out. And this woman passed me. She goes, I'm going to date night. I hope to see you there. And kept going. I was like, great. So people are getting excited.
Don't regret it, Brooke.
Never regret.
You be there.
I will.
None of you regret it.
Thanks, Matt. We will be right back.